Yeah,
Yeah,
so the reality is diversity is about the numbers. We have so many of these, 30% of that, people from this school, from this state, whatever, speak this language. Inclusion is making those numbers count for something. But
exactly.
still, you can get caught up in that. People get caught up in the table, inviting people to the table. I told everybody they could come, but if they don't feel like they belong or don't feel welcome, you can have as many signs and as many brochures and emails, they're just not going to show up. And so this concept of belonging is huge. And could you tell me a little bit about what belonging is like along your career, like what it was like in different places and where you are now with that sense of belonging?
Uh, yes. So I think like a sense of belonging for me comes, it's like a step after inclusion. So inclusion for me is, okay, so maybe another way of looking, exactly what you just said, inclusion is, making sure that people have a voice, that distributing power somewhat, giving people decision rights, making people feel valued. Trying to think of a good way to describe what a sense of belonging is. I think it's a step beyond just feeling included. So one of the things that I couldn't do when I was closeted was when my coworkers talked about what they did on the weekend. When it came my turn for me to talk about what I did, I always skirted that conversation, and I would just say, "Oh, I took my dog on a hike." And but like now that I'm out, I can just, when my coworkers talk about what they did on the weekend, I can also share, and it makes me feel like I'm an equal participant at the company. It makes me feel like I'm part of the work family, in a sense. Is I feel like I'm seen and I'm valued.
But tell me about when you were still closeted. What did it feel like to have to shut off a part of who you were? Like, because I think what I remember from what you shared before was that at some point it gets too expensive or it's too difficult. I think you said that a little earlier in this talk, but the feeling, because I think anyone out there who's listening to our conversation might want to connect with you on that level, can see it could maybe come to that conclusion a little faster, that it's expensive, it's emotionally expensive.
Yeah, and I think I can probably answer that question to help someone. So first, I really appreciate when someone who is not necessarily a member of the community really takes the time to be an advocate. So really, thank you. I think that says a lot about you as a person. So thank you for doing that. And
thank you.
To kind of illustrate to a broader audience kind of the cost of the closet, when someone is not out at work, they're having to expend a lot of energy every day, monitoring what they say, what they do in conversations, like when a coworker talks about what they did on the weekend. And rather than using that energy on something productive, like being creative or doing something meaningful at work, they're instead using that energy to maintain a facade. So I think when an employee can just be out at work and say, "This is who I am," I think that they're a much more productive part of the team. So that's one piece of it. And the other piece of it, just to help those who are not LGBT maybe understand why it's important for someone to come out at work, is it's also about having a sense of integrity. So while I was coming to work and I wasn't necessarily lying about my life, I was leaving out a lot. And when you're doing that, day after day, week after week, for someone that's striving for integrity of character, it just doesn't feel very good. It presents a moral dilemma.